So hi, welcome to this episode of History Hunters. I'm in the very historic Stockton Rural Cemetery. A lot of folks here are buried, date back to 1850s. But I'm here to talk about something that happened here in the 1940s. It's one of the most bizarre incidences in Stockton history. I'll tell you all about it on this episode of History Hunters. So the figure of the lady atop that grave there, it's the grave of Rufus Lane, who died in 1907, and his wife Jane, who died in 1884. Well, it stood witness to a bizarre incident that happened here in 1949. So right over there, a distraught gentleman crashed a small plane right into that area where his young bride was buried not long after she died in childbirth. So the plane crash happened here on July 25th, 1949, and hit in this area at or near the grave of Russell Higby's wife, Beverly Higby. Beverly Higby had died in childbirth 4 months prior, and Russell, her husband, was completely distraught and decided to commit suicide by crashing his dad's plane right here at her grave. Russell Higby Jr., also known as Bud, was born on May 26, 1925 in San Joaquin County. He grew up in Stockton and went to school with a young girl named Beverly Janet Hodgins. She was born October 7, 1926, also in San Joaquin County. While in high school, there began an attraction between Russell and Beverly, and on June 10, 1945, the couple was married at St. John's Episcopal Church on El Dorado Street in Stockton. During World War II, Russell worked as an ambulance driver, and when he got home, he went to work for his family's produce company, which kept him traveling between Stockton and Bakersfield. The marriage produced a daughter, and in 1949, another baby was on the way. But as 22-year-old Beverly was delivering her child in a Bakersfield hospital on April 1, 1949, she tragically died. A devastated Russell arranged for his wife to be buried here in this grave at the Stockton Rural Cemetery. Russell was crushed by the sudden loss and fell apart emotionally. He tried to pick up the pieces of his broken heart. He decided to move back in with his parents so they could help him raise his two daughters. Both his mother and father watched Russell grow more and more despondent with time since his wife passed. Just shy of 4 months after the death of his beloved wife, Russell did the unthinkable. He went up to the North Stockton airfield and took off in his father's Cessna airplane. He had routinely been flying his father's plane before, but that day was different. Russell Higby was distraught, and it was a one-way flight with no plan on returning. He used the plane to act out his grief, carelessly flying too close to buildings in Stockton, buzzing right above the tree line, flying under the telephone wires, frightening hundreds who phoned into the authorities to report the low-flying aircraft. Russell's youngest daughter told the Stockton Record newspaper in 2010 that her father took a berserk power dive at their Orange Street home, with him so low to the house that Russell's mother could see, quote, the beautiful blue of his eyes as he flew by. Russell's father tried to chase after his son in his Packard, racing up to the airstrip, trying to flag him down with his arms to tell him to go back to the strip and land. Even Sheriff Carlos Souza had deputies at the airstrip waiting to arrest him. Russell had other plans, however, and he swooped down, flying beside his father's car, and tipped his wings goodbye and flew away. It is said that Higby made 2 power dives while flying over the cemetery. On the second dive, witnesses estimated that he began his 2,000-foot descent straight down as he aimed the airplane into the spot where his wife was buried inside the grounds of the Stockton Rural Cemetery, sealing his fate to be eternally reunited with his bride. The wreckage of the plane was scattered over a large area, and Russell's body was thrown 30 feet from where the plane hit. Parts of the plane were even found as far as the roof of the mausoleum, which was located at the entrance of the cemetery grounds. So behind the grave of the couple, of the graves of Russell's parents, who were buried here after their son died, both died in the late 60s. His dad was a merchant. His name was Russell Higby Sr., and died in 1969. His mother, Persis Miller Higby, died in 1967. I can't imagine what the cemetery officials were thinking when they found out that a plane had crashed right into a grave But I also can't believe that somebody was so distraught that they would take their life in such a dramatic and very traumatic way. You know, I'll be the first one to admit that this was a very tragic and sad incident in Stockton history, but this is what we discuss on History Hunters. Sometimes history is not pleasant, but we would love to have you as a subscriber to History Hunters. We'd also ask that you give us a thumbs up and a comment. It helps to promote our channel. We thank you so much for being interested in history.